My name is Gabe. I play in a band called I Prevail, and I've spent the last 7 years touring all around the globe, playing for thousands of people a night, and I've been nominated for 2 Grammys. But it wasn't always like this. In fact, I spent 14 years struggling. And in this conversation, you'll learn what worked for me in my journey, and more importantly, what didn't.
So this is what I did to land a gig with a band that changed my life forever. But I'll say this first. I can't promise that if you do exactly what I did, you'll get the same results. I can promise that a lot more people will get similar results if they follow these steps. I mean, simply put, my dream was to just be a professional drummer in a professional band. I'm either pursuing what I actually want to do or completely giving up on the dream and pursuing the safe option, which would just completely kill me on the inside. The truth is, most musicians have everything in their way. You're starting off having to climb a giant mountain with no clear-cut path, even though everyone else has the clear-cut path of school to college to job. We have to create it for ourselves. Ironically, playing in a band is only part of the puzzle. You need more experiences, connections, and opportunities to learn how to be more pro and meet more pros. During this time, I had to get control and find clear markers that I could start to achieve to get me from where I was to even just a little bit forward. So for me, it started off with a skills checklist because I knew that even if someone did hand me the perfect band on a silver platter, that I actually wasn't ready for it. I needed to get the right skills in order so that I could be ready for any opportunity. And the checklist is actually incredibly simple. 1, can you play to a metronome easily? If you fall off the click, that's a huge problem because to play in almost anything, you have to stay on time. 2, do you have the ability to play a song perfectly note for note? This is a hugely important skill for passing almost any audition. And 3, this is the most important, do you have the ability to accurately critique yourself and know how to make improvements? If you're watching a video back of your own drumming, do you know what you can fix? Do you know what doesn't sound good? If you can accurately diagnose those weaknesses and make them better, that is the key to making fast progress as a musician. I've had to do all 3 of these steps in every gig that I've had, from playing to one person at a club to playing for 40,000 people in arenas. Getting control is a brutal experience, and it's often brought on because you are in the lowest points, and that's why it's so important to have a good dream. And I say good dream because most people actually have bad dreams, and those people typically fail. For example, I started off having a very clear-cut vision of my life. It was just the wrong vision. I used to have to be in the perfect band that fit exactly with the genre that I wanted, the exact type of drum beats that I wanted to play. It was all or nothing on that one incredibly specific path, but then I realized that nothing wasn't an option. After these bands failed, what drove me to a successful band was actually deviating from that bad dream. The best thing you can do is think of your ideal outcome and break it down into the most basic element of your goal. Instead of, I want to play in a band, think, I want to play drums live. Playing drums live will allow you to play in a band, but it's going to make you a lot less picky about how you are playing drums live. This allows those steps to become much more clear and actually lead you towards your ultimate goal. Actually doing this in practice is frustratingly difficult. I spent years not doing this and going down the wrong path, but if you can break down your ultimate dream into the smallest bite-sized piece, it will help guide the rest of your path. Once I clarified that good dream, I laser focused on it for 10 years straight. I kept going. It means that the goal of playing in a band has to be greater than every other priority in your life. I moved into a house with 7 other creative musicians who all were pushing me every single day to keep pursuing that dream. And that meant that my expenses were insanely low. My drums were in a closet and I would spend hours a day in there practicing. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to just be willing to keep at your goal for longer than is comfortable and longer than what other people are willing to wait for. For example, I grew up with another drummer who was way better than me. I actually learned a lot from him. But after 2, 3, 4 years of working at the same thing, eventually he's like, this isn't going to work out, and took a job working insurance because obviously that paid better in the short term. I caught up with him the other day and he's still doing the same thing, which is great, but he never has time to actually play drums anymore. And as a result, he sold his kit because he never touches it. I can tell that he really misses playing music, and in the back of his mind, it feels like there's that big what if. What if I kept going? What would my life be like now if I kept pursuing that dream? And I know for me, the price of that regret is more than any job could pay me. So what do the 92% of people do that lead them towards failure? It's incredibly simple. They stop when it's hard. The other 8% of people who are moving towards their goals, they stay in the game and they use the hard times as times to learn and to grow. It's called laser focus. And for me, it meant that reaching my goal was life or death. When you are that dedicated to your goals, you're much more inclined to actually reach them. And imagining myself doing anything else besides being in a band, that actually felt like death to me. Having laser focus is hard. It's hard to do the same thing for a long period of time, especially when there's a bunch of shiny objects pulling for your attention every step of the way. It's a pro band. You probably got paid a bunch. I actually made more than that from just gigging locally. We have no idea what to do, so we don't do anything. And that is a huge mistake, and you are missing out on so much more than you realize. Where do you actually begin to gain momentum and take forward steps? The first answer is anywhere. Get your hands dirty however you possibly can. If you're thinking, I don't actually have anywhere to start, I just play drums in my basement. Is that actually true? Do you really have nowhere to start? Let's start off with your drummer's resume. Your drummer's resume is consistently posting the best videos of you drumming that you can online. Quality is the most important thing here. You want anyone that sees your drumming to know that you can hang, you can play with a band, you can play songs, and you can execute them well. Do you happen to be in school? If so, that's amazing. You're surrounded by hundreds, if not thousands of people every single day. All you have to do is make it known that you're a drummer. Wear a Meinl shirt, wear a Vic Firth shirt, anything that puts the word out that will attract other musicians. And if you already know other musicians that you go to school with, try to become friends with them. The more musician relationships you can have, the more opportunities are available. If you don't go to school and you have no musicians to befriend, guess what? The internet is insane. You can go on Facebook groups and find musicians. You can find drummers, you can find guitarists, you can find bassists. You can try to find people who are looking for drummers, or you can post to say that you are a drummer looking to play in a band. Again, this is where those videos come in handy. Bandmix.com, where you can link up with other musicians. That is literally how I Prevail was created. There's a similar website called Hendrix.com. You can reach out to local churches to see if they're looking for any musicians. You offer to play for free so that they say yes, so that you meet more musicians. And again, this is where you include those videos that you've been posting. If you happen to know any local bands, reach out to them. Same thing. You play for free. Here are my videos of me sounding awesome. The most important thing here is the hustle. The biggest trap that we fall into as musicians who want to play in bands is that we have no idea what to do, so we don't do anything. So the busier you can be, the better. However, always make sure that what you're working on is working you towards your goal, even if it's the smallest step forward. The hustle is hard, but it's really fun and motivating. You actually get to feel the momentum of moving towards your goals. And that is much easier than feeling completely stagnant in your journey. Once you've put yourself out there by hustling, people will start inviting you to play with them. And this is when you have to say yes as often as possible. The reason why is because every new gig, every new opportunity is a way for you to complete the cycle from learning songs to auditions to rehearsals to gigs. The more of those circles you can complete, the better drummer you will be. And every time you complete a circle, the time it takes to complete it will get shorter and shorter. So it's the ultimate hack for not only gaining more progress, but gaining more momentum, because every gig that you play leads to meeting more musicians, which leads to more opportunities to play with other musicians and to play with other bands. I have too many students who get opportunities that they don't think are the right fit for them, or they're scared to audition for. And as a result, they don't pursue it. And that is a huge mistake, and you are missing out on so much more than you realize. For example, when I got approached to audition for I Prevail, it was not the music that I ever saw myself playing, that I ever wanted to play, and I was very scared to dedicate a full 3 to 4 weeks of my entire life to potentially lose out on an audition and embarrass myself in front of pro-level musicians. But if I let that fear and pickiness control my decision making, I would have never said yes, and I don't know where I would actually be right now. You might be thinking, of course you said yes to I Prevail. It's a pro band. You probably got paid a bunch. Going on tour is awesome. But at the time, the band was still getting started. So the offer for me was making $500 a week. And throughout the tours of that year meant that spending a whole year of touring would have made me $13,000 in total. And that is leaving my wife, leaving my friends, leaving my family, leaving my home, living on a small bus with a bunch of sweaty men. And I actually made more than that from just gigging locally at the time. But I said yes because I knew that going through that whole cycle of the audition process and getting the opportunity to play live concerts every single night would strengthen me so much more than if I were to just stay here. Saying yes is an easy strategy we can all implement right now. It doesn't mean that the work after saying yes is easy, but saying a simple 3-letter word can get you more opportunities, more gigs, and more progress than you ever thought possible. And I failed the audition. They told me I wasn't good enough. I can't explain to you how that changed the course and trajectory of my entire everything. But that might have been something that just never happened for me. Failure is not something to avoid. It's something to expect. So the question is, how will you handle it when it happens? And what will you learn from it afterwards? There was a big mega church in my area that I really wanted to play at, and I prepped for the audition, and I failed the audition. They told me I wasn't good enough. That's a story for another day. Then I found a mentor, and having that mentor helping me gain pro-level skills, giving me accountability, giving me actual tangible goals, and pointing out what my weaknesses were. I can't explain to you how that changed the course and trajectory of my entire drumming experience, band career, everything. And that's why I replicated that process with the 12-month Rockstar Drummer Mentorship. It's a program that means so much to me because we work with people who are like me and who want to play in bands and who want to become performance ready and want to feel confidence playing on any stage, whether that's one person in their basement or 10,000 screaming fans. And going through that process, just like 6 weeks later, I went back and I actually passed the audition. Getting a mentor to invest in your success is brutally difficult. And that's why I reverse engineered the entire process that I went through so that other people can have it much easier than I did. Right now, we're looking for 10 intermediate to advanced drummers who are looking to get pro-level skills incredibly quickly. We accept serious applications right up here. Now, the most important thing you can do to actually reach your goal of playing in a band is to commit to it and be honest with where you fall short of that. So instead of going from step 1 to step 100, go from step 1 to step 2. Focus on the little tiny things that you can do to be closer today than you were yesterday. In case you didn't know, after my job, I would rush home and teach 5 students, and then I'd play the midweek services at church, and then I would play gigs on Friday and Saturday, and then wake up at 5 a.m. on Sunday to play at church, and it was nonstop. But the reason that I got the I Prevail gig was through a connection that I made at one of the churches. And if I only committed to saying, oh, I only want to play cover gigs, or I only want to play at bars, or I only want to teach students, then that might have been something that just never happened for me. Making a new dream for yourself and taking those small steps forward can be frustratingly difficult, but maybe not as difficult as the time fans rioted at my show in Jakarta. Click right here to check that one out. It's pretty wild.